My visit with my cousin Terry was epic. Please listen and enjoy DaleWileyShow.com.
I guess we really became good friends, you and I, through Fountain.
Yes, definitely.
Because, we've really known each other forever, but we really became close.
Is, that's the point, at which I want to describe the campground experience to all the people from Missouri and other places who never experienced camp meeting.
Oh, gosh. How do you describe that? That's a tough one. Well, it's a once-a-year thing, and
Right.
I've always described it to people who have no idea what this is. It's like a week-long family reunion.
Yes.
And it's church-based. Like we always have two church services. There's a morning service and an evening service.
Right.
And the rest of the day is just good food and good fellowship. And everybody is practically, in one way or another, related to somebody there. So that's where the big family reunion thing is. And you and I really have a lot of family that goes there.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much camp meeting in a nutshell. But our camp meeting,
but it's also, you've got to add the nature element to it.
That's what I was going to say. Our camp meeting is by far the best.
Yes,
because our campground, that's the place that we gather,
right.
is smack dab in the middle of nothing.
Right.
It's a good what I'd say 10 or 12 miles away from the nearest city.
And you have to you have to stand just right to get a cell signal.
Oh, absolutely. We have a it's kind of on a hill, our campground, and folks down in the bottom, we call it. We stay on the top, at the top of the hill. My tent, we call them tents.
Right.
It's really just a shelter kind of thing. But anyway, my tent is at the top of the hill, and that's where you get the best phone reception. So
yes.
all day long, I see people who are coming up the hill so that they can, check in with reality. But
right.
when you're on the campground at Fountain, it's a good time to shut yourself off from the world because you can. Because there is
like you used to.
Yes. And it's easy to do because truly, you have no cell reception unless you're standing in the right spot. And sometimes you have to drive down the road a bit to get a good cell reception.
Right.
So,
when you're in Washington, it's good service, but it's not as easy as it sounds.
No, it's not.
I actually think that is, the deal. I think that is something that everybody needs to do. More than we do now.
Absolutely. Get back to the real stuff, the stuff that matters.
Definitely. And the stuff that we did on the campground in the 80s is definitely real stuff.
And it's priceless. I mean, golly, we played card games till we were just bored silly. And then we played card games some more. All day long, no matter what. See somebody walking around, what you doing? Nothing. You want to play some cards? Sure. That's. And then, every now and then we're like, no, I don't feel like playing cards. Let's walk to the bridge, or let's walk to the spring, or let's try this goofy thing. I mean,
yes.
We did a lot of goofy stuff. Sometimes we would. Do you remember sitting under the tabernacle, which is like where the church is?
Right.
And I know you've had other people on your show talking about Fountain, so I don't know how much I need to go into describing everything.
Leomi is the only one who's really talked about it. I guess really we need to get into that with Mom, so you go and talk like you want to.
Oh, gee. Okay, well, I mean, it's hard to describe it. It's so hard to describe it to people, but in the center of the campground is the tabernacle. Tabernacle is like the church for the campground. And it's an open air. It's like this big, I call it a pole tent because it's got big hand-cut pillars, I guess, because they're square, aren't they? And they're so tall. I don't know how tall the tabernacle is. I would say a good what, 30 feet tall?
Probably 30 feet.
And it's a tin roof, old tin roof. And if I had to guess how wide the tabernacle is, I would say, gosh, I don't know, at least 30 feet wide, probably more than that.
I'd say it's wider than that. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, it has 3 rows of pews, and all the pews are also handmade, hand-hewn,
Right.
old wood.
Right.
And so there's 3 rows of pews, 2 aisles, and then the pulpit is up front. And the tabernacle's pretty big.
Yeah.
It's pretty big.
Yeah.
And when we would get really bored during the day, we didn't want to play cards, it was too hot to do anything, we would just sit under the tabernacle and talk. Do you remember those?
Oh, yeah.
Those days? Yeah. And if somebody had a knife, which, back in the 80s, everybody had a pocket knife, we were so bored, we would just, not even thinking about what we were doing, we would start carving stuff on those wooden pews, like on the back of the one sitting in front of us. And, gosh, there were so many people's names and initials and everything just back there. Since then, some of those older pews in the back, I guess you could say they really got worn out, I guess, because, all of the Baptist people go in there, ha-ha. But they've had to replace those, and they've actually pulled out a few of those pews and left room for golf carts to pull under, because now in the 2000s, back in the 1900s, we would actually sit on the pews in the tabernacle. But now people bring comfortable chairs, and they've cleared out those back rows of pews so that you can now, if it's raining, people can pull their golf cart under there if they need to, or they can, bring a chair from their tent and sit comfortably.
Right.
Personally, I still sit on the pews because,
yes,
listening to a sermon, you have to sit on a church pew. I don't know. That's just how I was raised. But anyway, so there's that area back there. So most of our carvings from back in the 80s, they're gone. But I just remember we were pretty creative with what to do during the day. But leaving the campground was not an option, never an option.
Right. During that time, Miss Dancy wouldn't allow it, and
that's
you had
exactly
to do what Miss Dancy said.
That's exactly right, because in the 80s, you see, I didn't have my own tent. I started, Fountain has been around since like 1882?
1822.
1822, so it's
before that.
Yeah, but we have documentation back to 1882. I mean, 1822.
Yes.
22. That's right. It's 200 years coming up. Like,
I know, yeah. Like
we need to get together and plan something really big.
Right. Yes.
It'll be awesome. Okay. Anyway, we digress. But back in the 80s, we were all teenagers. I don't think my Aunt Nancy, is the reason that I think we have our close relationship. You and me and our other cousin Jennifer and our good friend Lisa. Because of Nancy, the 4 of us have this amazing relationship that, we can go months without talking and then call one of us up and, hey, how you doing? Oh, and it's just like we spoke yesterday. And,
definitely.
And that is all because of Fountain. And you just don't have those relationships with people as a normal thing,
Well, you think about the fact that I was coming from, hundreds of miles away, and, we still have a great friendship to this day. It's
Absolutely.
amazing to see how it's developed, and stayed.
Yes. Because I promise, being a us being family is not the reason we're so close. It's because of Fountain.
There's a lot more than this at the Dale Wiley Show. It's DaleWileyShow.com. Please listen, enjoy, and wait for more.